Okay, so a few more people jumping into the room. I'll just get underway, guys. Here we go. Stand by. Could be a good week. Certainly could be an interesting week. And before we get into charts, let's see why that might be the case and have a look at what the Forex Factory is telling us. And for this Monday, we see that not only is there a Brexit vote tomorrow, there is also GDP figures coming out month on month for the pound in a couple of hours from now, as a matter of fact. So it could be a rocky ride for the GBP this week, one would suspect. I'm thinking it's a lively affair coming up, I'd have to say that, but probably not easy to trade. If you've got a view on that and you can find yourself a safe passage into the market, then happy days. I don't know that I'll be looking for that, but if it actually rears its head and gives me a beautiful indicator, then maybe I'll consider it. But it'll be very small risk, and I absolutely want to be safe in the market before this Brexit vote tomorrow is getting near. So expect a little bit of volatility on the good old GBP, certainly in the first 24, 48 hours of this trading week. It's not all that's happening, of course. It's going to be a busy week. CPI figures coming out of the States, as well as PPI figures tomorrow. More pound news tomorrow as well on average earnings. That will precede the Parliament vote. One would suspect it will precede that. I'm not sure exactly on the timing of that Parliament vote. I would suspect that may drag out a little bit as Parliament meet tomorrow, but who knows? It might be a very quick affair also. As I said, CPI figures out of the States, interest rate announcements on both the Swissy and the Euro on Thursday. So the week's going to be pretty damn busy with a whole lot of potential moves. The one thing I think I'm pretty certain of is that on Wednesday, we won't be seeing the pound around about 127, and potentially we won't be seeing the euro around about 113 either. I think there'll be a change in the fortunes of both of those currency pairs, no matter which way it goes. So, yeah, interesting week, and one that's likely to be full of interest and volatility. Let's see if we can sort something out. Prior to going into the UK session, rather, I'm going to look at let's go to the euro first, because on Thursday we left you with two trades on the euro. One was on the 30-minute chart, and that turned out to be a good winner. Hopefully you jumped onto that one. We entered the market here at this green line, and you should have been taking profits well before the highs, that's for sure. But if you track this one up, that was definitely an exit point. There was an exit point here as well, where I've got that white line. So that would have been a good winner for you. We also traded the euro on the 4-hour chart, and that 4-hour trade is still in the market if you're trading it correctly, or if you've got out, then happy days. You've got out with a good profit again. So we traded this bar here, trading at the red line, which is now where stops should be. I've moved stops to entry. I think that's probably the wise thing to do, given that there's potentially going to be a lot of volatility coming up on the euro. A good chance to ride our luck here. A real good chance to ride our luck here if things go our way. Look, in all honesty, it's likely not to be the case, in my humble opinion. But anything can happen. So if you're still in this, there is some chance that we'll get a good ride out of it. And with stops at entry, I think that's probably the wisest way to go. I think the only real danger here is if there's I don't know. It's possible for the market just to go bang in a massive move down, and that's a danger, I suppose, of being in the market. You may not get your stops filled, and that's a bit of a concern. So, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to advise on. Certainly, if you're not used to taking risk into the market, then you'll probably want to consider getting out of the market on both the euro and the pound. Before that Brexit vote, it could be a rocky ride. In terms of today, a little bit tough to get in long if you're not long already. and I wouldn't advise that at this point in time. We've got an untested daily pivot below us. We haven't, well, we have, I suppose, come back to and retested that trend line once it's been broken, but not once it's been closed above really in any substantial way. So potential for this to retest is still there. In terms of target area, well, I've got to be thinking this red line as scale out time, but I've also got to be thinking there's a possibility, there's a remote, but it's there, possibility that we will see 117 at some stage. So the Brexit thing is a little bit bad timing, if you like, because this, with outside of Brexit, might have had a very strong chance of getting to this area. I think that's been lessened by the Brexit situation. We will see. Only time will tell on that one. Speaking of Brexit, let's take a look at the pound. I really like Ash is trying to join us as well. He's in transit, but he's going to join us as soon as he can. I think he's maybe at a train station looking for a train home. He's been in Singapore, of course. I would like to get his views on what's likely to happen tomorrow, and probably stay out of the pound, in my opinion, for now. Although technically, and I keep saying this, the pound's been acting very, very technically in the last, well, few months, really, at the end of the day. And we've now come into a logjam, no surprise, given that the Brexit vote and potentially finality of the Brexit situation, though doubtful, may in fact happen as early as tomorrow. As I said, I don't see pound US dollar being around the 127 mark after the announcement is made, but trading it at the moment is a tricky affair. So I think, unless there's an absolute standout trade for me, I'll just watch this one, let it go through the keeper, and try and track it down after the announcement. There likely to be opportunities after the announcement if it doesn't go too far too fast. We'll see. Let's concentrate on one that I am interested in, and it's the Aussie. Looking for the Aussie to rally, and I put this little channel in to give you some indication as to why I think that's possible, given that other than a few interesting levels, this looks to be in deep trouble. I find that this confluence area here of previous support, previous resistance is interesting. Two ways to look at this. One is, yes, we have found a support level. This was a potential inverted head and shoulders, which I think has now gone too far. It's probably not that indicator anymore, but there is a strong confluence here. The daily pivot you can throw in there as well. So there is a horizontal level. There's a daily pivot level. There's one, bottom of channel, if you like, or let's even call that shoulders, if they're still intact. These things, these channels can tend to go on and on. So I'm more than willing to keep that in mind. And if there is an opportunity to go long here, I think I'll jump on that, despite the fact that we're looking extremely bearish at this point in time. A little bit of a gap this morning's been closed very, very quickly. And I don't know if that's profit taking or there's actually serious buyers here, but we'll find out in due course. Again, we're probably looking for the smaller time frames today. Tomorrow, this might be different on the daily chart, but today I'm looking at the smaller time frames where I see it's a spinning top, but it's kind of a bullish bar, a little bit of a turnaround here that found resistance in Friday's daily pivot. You can see that the market couldn't get through there at all. Don't forget we had NFP on Friday as well. I actually don't know what the NFP number was. Let me check on that instantly, because I don't trade on Fridays as a rule. I didn't take any notice of it. In fact, I was upstate delivering bamboo. The number was a miss to the downside and disappointing, I would have thought. But as I continue to say and have been saying for quite some time, NFP doesn't have the capacity to move the market that it once did in my humble opinion. Of course, it is still a very, very important number for various reasons, but the market, to mine, doesn't really react as strongly as it used to on NFP numbers, because there's a whole lot of other stuff going on is probably the answer to that question, so I'll probably answer it myself. So we have had a bit of a sell-off at the announcement of that NFP number. Not what you'd probably expect with a poor number for the dollar, but we've quickly come back on that. Is that over the weekend or is that today's candle? Let me see. Okay, so that's today's candle, right? So of course it is, because we got down. So we're seeing that pullback today. Maybe that's really how the market may have reacted to the NFP number, but didn't. Now we're seeing that as a late comer. But here's the level I'm talking about. It's 71.95. Let's call it 72, shall we? The figure. And we've managed to get above today's daily pivot. We haven't managed to close below today's daily pivot. Maybe that's significant, and I'll certainly be looking for that to be the case, given my bullish outlook for this cross. As I say, we've had a little bit of a backup in terms of respecting this level, given I'll call that a partial I'll call it a partial hammer, and then it's backed up by this big bullish engulfing bar. So I'm looking for that to continue, and maybe that's the base that this formed, some weeks ago as well, and we'll see this kind of price action. I'm tipping that as to be my focus for the next 24 hours at least, and if not throughout the week. So I'll be looking for this to rally, and if I can find an area, well, I've got an area, I've got the daily pivot. If I can find a reason to get into this long, be it the 4-hour chart, be it the daily chart tomorrow, be it the hourly chart, whatever, I think I'll be taking that as a very, very serious prospect, trying to trade the Aussie long, despite the fact that it looks extremely bearish in a, I guess, medium-term picture. I can hear a noise in the background. I'm wondering if that's Ash.
It is me, mate. Hold on 1 second.
Where are you?
I am. I've just kind of just landed.
I know.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to put you on. If I can. I'm going to put you on my.
You sound like you're in a cocktail bar somewhere.
No, you know what? It's just a place in the station. I'm halfway. I landed about an hour and a half ago, and I'm making my way back to Brighton. But I thought I'd stop at the kind of main terminal in London, see if I could do the show, and then get on a train. So I'm halfway home, effectively.
So have you been keeping track? And I guess not so much keeping track, but what are we forecasting for this big event tomorrow?
Oh, sorry, mate. 1 second.
Yep. Are you getting into trouble for this? I don't know.
I might be. 1 second. So what's that, mate? Of course, mate. Yeah. Fine. Oh no, I wasn't in trouble. No, somebody just asked me to. Somebody's asking me to do something while I'm doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how successful this will be, but we'll see how we get on.
Could be interesting, as could the week. It's going to be a massive couple of days for the pound, of course.
Yeah. Well,
do we sit out? Do you try and get a ride? Or
I think we have to, mate. I think we have to. It's so confusing. I mean, we yesterday it was looking like Theresa May was going to pull the vote. And I thought if we pull the vote, then maybe we'd actually see some upside with the pound, because I thought maybe with a lack of certainty, there might just be, specifically with the support level that we're on with the pound dollar. I thought maybe we just float around a little bit, but then I've just read this morning that the vote is back on, so I just don't think we've got any kind of clarity whatsoever, and it's going to make this whole thing very, very difficult to do anything with.
Yeah, I've said that, in my opinion, the pound US dollar won't be anywhere near 127 on Wednesday morning. I think that's probably the case. But getting it to where we'd like to make money out of that is a pretty difficult prospect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just that level of support that we're at is so strong, and I don't think we're going to need much excuse to go up from here. It's just, very, very difficult to find what the excuse can be with you know, more potential uncertainty coming into the market, and you know, and it actually makes trading, maybe even on the whole, quite difficult, because that's gonna wipe out quite a few currency pairs. You can't trade the pound, you can't trade the pound dollar, you can't trade the pound yen, you can't trade the euro. Does it affect the euro as well? You know, and if that's the case, that also kind of cuts out quite a few currency pairs. So we're looking at, I guess, the Aussie, which is not a great currency for me because it's just so far away from my news opportunities. I won't be able to find stuff out.
Yeah, I'm bullish.
You're bullish Aussie?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, mate. All right, let's have a look.
Explaining why, but I'll show you why.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
It looks extremely bearish, you'd have to say that. We've come off the top of this channel, which is, well, extended now, similar to what we've been following on the pound, on the bigger picture. On the weekly, I think we've been following that one. No, maybe the daily. I might have even taken it off now. I have. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll go back to the Aussie. What we had was a potential, I guess, double head of it. If you go to a weekly chart, it looks a little bit better. And a potential shoulder here, which has now got too much time has passed, but it's still respecting this level, in my opinion. And now we've got a horizontal level, which is 72 the figure, basically. I've got it at 71.95. But we've also, if you go a little bit tighter, you can see that the daily pivot's in there as well. And we've closed the gap that was created over the weekend. We've come through the daily pivot. All I need to get interested here really is a retest, maybe even a higher low here gets me more interested, and probably that's the better trade. Let's maybe get one of these pivots tested, one of these major pivots tested, and then come back and hit this level again, and that would get me really interested in trading it long. In the flip side of that, we've come back into this range, and if we would receive a lower high here, perhaps it changes my mind somewhat. It depends on how these candles form here. But I think this area is very interesting. I think we can pick up some money here by trying to trade to that level and then waiting to see what happens when we get there. Don't take everything off, because if it does continue to go long, then we want to have something in the game. But this is obviously going to be an area where we look for a lower high. But short term, intraday, I think we can make some money out of a little long here at some stage.
Yeah, really I see that.
In terms of the euro, I don't see that it can't affect the euro, this vote, no matter which way it goes. I think that has to be a consideration. So yes, I agree. Very, very tough to trade. I think we got our money on the euro on Thursday, and that was probably very timely. You remember that we put 2 trades in the market long on the euro, and the 30-minute was an outright winner. The 4 hours still going, so we've potentially got something going there. If this does go, this vote does go, I'm not sure how it can go our way, to be fair. I really see downside, but hey,
the only thing that might benefit the euro is the fact that it seems at this stage that they've won. You know, if Theresa May can't get this through, I've just had a look at the flying. You know, certainly from that has managed to kind of wrestle control from the pound. And if Theresa May can't get a vote through, then it starts another referendum. Increase the even worse for the UK. You know, that maybe that's one aspect which could actually be fairly good with the euro. Certainly against the pound, maybe dollar, but it'll certainly be good against the pound. I don't think depending the deal kind of ends up in, might have themselves a pretty decent side of the deal.
Yeah, interesting point. As you say, euro pound is going to change direction quick. Well, not so much direction, but it certainly won't be where it is currently. Come the end of that vote, one wouldn't think.
No.
But again,
no,
it's a flip of a coin, isn't it? Or is it? How does the euro devalue against the pound? How does that happen?
Well, anyway, the vote does go through. It comes in for this second referendum, and by default, so the euro price action that we were looking for before is the deal a bit with a deal coming through, that's going to strengthen the pound. If there's no certainty, then we'll probably get that second referendum. I suspect there'll be a little bit of strength with the pound going into the referendum, and then we'll see what the result is.
But I know there's nothing you can do about it.
So there's a few ways that the pound could certainly. Very good connection, right?
Yeah, that's better now.
Okay. I don't know whether maybe I need to be a bit closer to the speaker. Yeah, so it's going to be down to a bit of certainty. Can the UK get some certainty? If they can, then I guess the pound will strengthen. If we get a referendum, we can for a bit, but then probably strengthen off the back of the fact that go away. There's lots of tricks.
Yeah, you're breaking up badly again, mate. I don't think we're going to get that, unfortunately. Funnily enough, when you stop talking, the connection's okay. Start again. No, I think we've lost Ash this time. He's obviously in an interesting position. He's probably underground in the tube somewhere, or waiting for the train to take him home after his flight. So I think at this stage, unless he can come back to us in quality fashion, then we'll probably look to push on without him. But thanks very much, mate. If you can hear me, thanks for tuning in and attempting to give us something. If your signal gets better, then happy days. We'll put you back. But in the meantime, it looks like that's not going to be the case. Okay, I still think you guys have got my screen. Yeah, okay. Okay, sorry guys. Just letting Ash know that we're releasing him from all duty. All right, so let's go through, and I think what Ash and I were talking about there with the euro and the pound and all things Brexit probably doesn't need to be dwelt upon. I mean, if you haven't got the message by now that it's potentially going to be a volatile ride, and these two crosses or these two currencies, no matter what against, are just going to be a little bit tough to trade for the next 24 hours or so. So I'm not going to trade them any further. I think we got a little bit out of the euro. Well, that's not true. I'm still going to hang on to this euro trade that I'm in and see if we can get a free ride on that one. But I don't intend to trade against the pound or for the pound or add any positions to the euro at this point. All right, we're about 3 minutes from opening. I don't normally trade the open, but I will have a look and see if there's anything setting up on the smaller time frames. Don't forget that I do have a very bullish out. Well, no, let me take that back. I have a short-term bullish outlook on the euro today, so I'll be looking to trade that on the smaller time frames. What I'd really like to see, that's the daily chart. Let's go a little bit tighter and see what we can find. I do like this scenario, but I'd really like to see a pullback to this level and then give me a reversal bar so that I can trade essentially a higher low and look for profit before the monthly pivot. Then I'll be prepared probably to leave something open just in case this does skyrocket. Not that I can see that anytime soon, but I'm hanging in there. I think there's still this possibility that we're going to continue this rally off the bottom, which has given us so far higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, equal low, higher high, equal low, potentially equal low. I'm using this line here, which is that 71.95 level that I spoke of before, as my line in the sand. I don't really see me maintaining a bullish outlook if price were to get away here below this level. I guess that said, there's probably reason to think there's a trade here with a stop here somewhere. And maybe that's the case. And I'll look at that tomorrow on the daily chart. But for today, I'll be looking at the smaller time frames. And whilst this bullish engulfing bar is a very nice sign, I don't think it's a tradable candle at all. The risk I'd be taking into this, even if I just use that candle, would be about 45 pips, and I'm trading into the monthly pivot, which has already acted as resistance twice, or call it 3, 4, 5 times if you like, and only 17, 18 pips away. So the reward, or the potential reward for the risk that I'd be taking here, is very poor. And even if you're prepared to trade through the monthly pivot, you've got the weekly pivot sitting dead ahead of you as well. So it's not an easy trade to take at the moment. That's why I'd like to see this pull back to give us a little bit of breathing space and a little bit more reward on offer for the risk that we would take into the trade. Let's look at the 30-minute chart because that's where we're at. We're at the top of the hour and opening of the session. What would I like to see here? Well, given what I've just said, obviously I'd like to see price fall back to here and give us something of a higher low, and we look to trade that long at that point. Could I trade long now? Well, I could, because I've really got a partial setup here in, well, let's put a trend line in here to see if that's valid at all. Looks okay. It's perfectly okay. The issue that I would have entering the market long here would be that I'd be trading straight into the high of the day, which is this high here, which is part of the formation that I'm trying to trade. Now, if it were a new high, in other words, if it had taken these two highs out, then I'd probably get interested. But I can't do that. I can't trade the high of the day here without some sort of, and I know there's been a little bit of retracement here, but has there really? Is this a swing? In my opinion, no, it's not. It's simply, or maybe even not. I was about to say the end of a consolidation period. Maybe it's not the end of a consolidation period, and that's probably why I'm using my experience, I guess, to say I don't want to trade long here, because this could well continue to be consolidation. What I'd like to see is this consolidation broken by an attempt to get lower, and that failing at this level, and then I get the opportunity to trade it long. If it does go long here, will I be disappointed? Not really, because there'll be hopefully a second opportunity to get in. But this one's too dangerous, in my opinion. The reward's there. There's a 1-to-1 before these highs, so that part's good. But I do have a rule that says I don't trade in to the high of the day, unless it is a brand new high and a good swing. So I don't see that as being the case. So I'm just going to leave it alone for now and hope that I do get that pullback and a potential entry down lower. As Ash was saying, pretty tough to be trading the euro and the pound. But look, let's do the exercise. Maybe we can look back on this and say, well, why didn't we trade it? You know, maybe that wasn't such a bad idea. Or why did we say we weren't going to trade? I do like to do those exercises, although it can be painful. So again, we're in this 4-hour trade long. We should be. If you're not, then so be it. Very, very difficult to get into it now, long, of course, without substantial pullback. I see that as a definite possibility, given that we've broken through not only the trend line, but we've got above the pivots as well. So a pullback to here is certainly not out of the question, and I'm kind of half expecting that, to be fair. So on the 4-hour chart, I won't be trading that today, of course, until that pullback does come. If it does come later on, then maybe we can look at it on Wednesday, but certainly not at the moment. There's that pullback candle that I spoke of before, but I'm still expecting another pullback to test this daily pivot and the trend line. To trade that, should I, would I, could I? Well, I can, as always. There's probably an opportunity, and it will probably come as a false break of that line right there. So if price were to come back underneath here and then retest it from below, as long as the candle's reasonable size that I can get profit before these levels here, then I'd be happy to do so. But, you know, if it was too big a candle and got too close to the pivot and the trend line, then that wouldn't be so appealing to me. I do see this change in trend. We've, as I said before, and that was very much a part of why I wanted to trade this long on Thursday, as we did, was the fact that we were coming off a bottom. We'd come back into the range. We'd put in a big bullish engulfing bar here. We had a nice reversal bar here to trade, which was that one there. And when we did get taken in, we got acceleration, and that's still going, as I said. That hasn't changed. That is still intact. So that part of the process is still ongoing. And that's why now I'm looking for a pullback to here and maybe join in or scale back in if Brexit wasn't about. Brexit is about, so I'm not going to add risk to the position that's already there, and that's a fact. But I do note that there is a change of polarity here, and this could go long. This could go long. If it does, there's probably plenty of room up here to say we can get to 117 at least. And that's why I'm happy to keep something in the game at this point. In terms of trading on the 30-minute chart today, I don't think so. Untested daily pivot. Do I want to trade against that? No. Actually, I can see a possibility to trade it short against my bias. And it wouldn't be a hedge in any way. It's just trading a setup if it does come. And that would be, again, a break of this level here. Find the high, find the resistance, get back underneath it, retest it. Then there's a trade to the short side, but, you know, only as far as here, where I expect to bounce. So, you know, there's absolutely no reason why I couldn't do that. Will I? If it sets up, sure, why not? Don't have a problem. So that's the euro. Pound, look, I've been saying all along, this Brexit thing is more of a distraction to me in terms of what I plan to do with the cross, trading wise. And I think that distraction is really showing its head now. Prior to that, we've been treated, if you like, by some beautifully technical stuff, you know, resistance to support to resistance. This one a little bit short, but found support in the monthly pivot, so no drama there. Resistance again. Beautiful lower high here that we traded, down to here. Another beautiful lower high here that we traded, down to here actually. So, you know, there's been great opportunities on this cross, and it owes me absolutely nothing. I'm really happy with this cross in the last couple of months. Been very, very good to trade. I don't see that as being the case right now in technical terms, and it's that reason that I don't want to trade on top of the Brexit thing rather than just the Brexit thing that's keeping me out of this at the moment. There's really it's too tough to call, and for that reason we'll just leave it alone. I think the 4-hour chart, again, we'll do a hypothetical here, and the hypothetical would be from this chart that we've got bullish engulfing bar, higher low here, equal low here, another bullish engulfing bar, another bullish engulfing bar. This is telling me long, telling me there's a long on. But what I'd like to see to trade that long would be price get to here, find resistance, then come back and give me another higher low here. And that would be the time to go long. So again, this is a hypothetical because of the situation in which we find ourselves in terms of Brexit announcements tomorrow. And don't forget there's news as well coming up very, very shortly on the pound. What time was it? 8:30, I think, in fact. That's GMT, which is an hour and 22 minutes away. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's coming up as well. So another thing to consider. If you want to trade into that, then that wouldn't be such a bad idea. I don't think the Brexit thing's going to take effect today. It'll wait for the announcement. So I don't see a problem with that. If you want to get in the market on the smaller time frames today, go for your life, as far as I'm concerned. I don't see any reason to get too excited about this number that's forecast. So again, I don't see any reason to trade it technically either. So for that reason, I think we will leave it alone. But if we were to hit this level, come back in the next couple of hours and give me that higher low, then I think there is potential for a trade there. Aussie yen, let me take a look at that. This one's been a bit hard to catch, although it is acting technically, as I just said, about the pound, because it's going to support. Didn't really hit resistance here, although you've got to throw the weekly pivot in, then back to what was new support, if you like. So tough to trade off the bottom there without a reversal bar of some kind and then a higher low. So there was probably no trade to be had here. But here, most definitely, where you've got a triple top, basically. There might have been a little pullback there on the 4-hour chart. This is the daily that we're looking at, but then it went bang straight back to support. Gave us a big hammer, suggesting that there was upside to come. And lo and behold, we got the pullback here. There was a potential entry off that one on the smaller time frames as well. And bang, back to here. Double top. Didn't give us a lower high on the daily chart. In fact, that would have been there. That would have been your higher low. Sorry, your lower high on the smaller time frames. So maybe there was a little trade in there. If you've taken profit, happy days. If not, you got smashed. And that's pretty evident. But since then, the Aussie's gone over the waterfall. And we were trying to pick this up last week. Didn't manage to do so. And sadly, because there was a mighty good reward there had you done so. Yeah, look, from here, I can't really jump in short without a substantial pullback. And the pullback's clear that it has to come to the pivots. Let's see what that looks like on a 4-hour chart. Well, it's come back to a pivot, that's for sure. Reversal bar here didn't work. Reversal bar here, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We're certainly at this level, daily pivot, where there's a potential bounce. Yeah, I'm just trying to line up my bias with something substantial. That level's substantial. It's been strong support in the past. Yeah, there's every reason to think this can go low again. I don't think it's for me, to be fair. This one failed, which is interesting. Whether this one's able to bounce and go short, I don't know. And I've got this feeling that it may be the case, because it's in my bones, I suppose, that we're going to see a risk-off mentality in the next 48 hours. And that should drive the Aussie yen lower as the yen strengthens on the back of indecisiveness or fear or whatever comes out of this Brexit thing. Maybe this certainly comes out of it. If certainly comes out of it, then risk will go back on. But I just don't see that. And I've got this funny feeling in my bones that the yen's going to strengthen out of this. And for that reason, we're probably going to find Aussie yen down here somewhere. We'll see. Nothing's for sure, but that's just the way I'm reading it at the moment. And we're willing to trade that yet? I don't think I'm willing to trade that yet. Because A, we are waiting on this Brexit vote, and B, don't really have a setup. I'll watch it though. I'll be watching this area, and if there is a reversal bar here, and maybe even on the 30-minute chart, something crops up and pokes its head out and says, "Hey, trade me," then maybe that's a possibility. Certainly, there's a case for trading short off the daily pivot here, so I'll be watching that with interest. That's Aussie yen. Euro Aussie, again, going back to the Brexit thing, it's going to be a little bit difficult to trade, to be fair. I guess, given I've got a bullish bias on the Aussie at the moment, the chances are, and they're chances only, there are chances that this will fall, given, as I say, my bias on the Aussie and the potential for a bad result for the euro versus everything again, except the pound, that is. But speculation, it's pure speculation. And really, I want to see something that's more compelling than speculation to trade this short. What would that be? Well, I'd like to see a reversal pattern to start with. And I really don't have that. I don't have a bearish engulfing bar. Maybe I do on the hourly chart. Yeah, I do. Okay, so I've got my bearish engulfing bar. I've got a potential lower high here. I don't like to trade low test, high test bars together, so I'll be looking for that to correct itself by giving me another high here. Maybe hitting DR1, then rolling over with a strong reversal bar that gets me short. That's the only thing I would consider. But again, euro at the moment is a little bit tough. Euro yen. Yeah, look, I think there's a crash coming here. You can see what it's been doing. It's been consolidating in a box range that is how big? About 130 pips. You could even tighten that up to candle closes here and make it about 100 pips, I suppose. But it's been doing that for nearly a month now. And I guess of all the pairs that you'd be wanting to trade risk off, this would be one of them. And if we do go into a risk off mentality, then I see the euro yen falling dramatically. Let me see what sort of space we've got underneath here. You can see that consolidation area where we've just been going, pardon me, failing short, failing long, failing short, failing long. And now the shorts side has a temporary blockage. One would think that will change if we do go into a risk off mentality and this Brexit thing, doesn't resolve itself in an acceptable manner for the euro. But again, speculation. So it's tough to be trading speculation because it can bite you on the bum big time. In terms of the 30-minute chart today, no real interest from here. Yes, we're at the monthly pivot, so if we got below it, I guess it becomes potential for reversal. But yeah, I'm not that keen, to be fair. EuroCAD is interesting. I've been watching the oil price, trying to get a handle on what the CAD might be doing, and you could be forgiven for thinking that oil on the back of the OPEC decision on Thursday, I think, maybe Friday, where they OPEC made a creed or contract or whatever they do to reduce oil production by, don't quote me, lots of barrels per day, which should have rallied oil. And I guess momentarily it did, this being the daily chart. But that seems to have come off very, very quickly in the same day. So I guess it was Friday that announcement was made. And all we're seeing now is uncertainty here. And I can't for the life of me think why Brexit is causing that. I'm looking for a reason to go long here, but I don't really see it. maybe there's a case on a smaller time frame. We keep seeing reversal bars here. I guess we've got a higher low. I guess we've got another higher low. Yeah, tough to read because really we've got consolidation here. Let me put a ring around it, I suppose. That might make it just a little bit more standout-ish as to what we need to do here. Let's use those highs on the close, and yes, let's use those lows on the close. And that's the kind of range that we're in. You could tighten that up to here if you wanted to, and use this as a false break. Not compelling in any way, shape, or form. The failure of the first bar today to make real inroads into Friday's retracement, if you like, puts a doubt over this rally, and that's really the confusing bit. If this were a stronger bar, then I'd be getting a bullish attitude. But I guess I'm still there. That's a big bar in context. That's a big bar. It is news driven. That is the OPEC decision, no doubt. And or the reaction to the OPEC decision. Yeah, I'd like to get long here, but I don't see that as an opportunity just yet. Maybe on the smaller time frames, there's a nice test of the pivots, and then we get a nice bounce off there. Let's have a look at that. See, it's just skating along the top of the two pivots here, and because the two pivots are very close together, I get the impression that price doesn't want to go too far away from them. And certainly, you know, this serve, if you like, if we're playing tennis, this big serve has been returned, but not with interest. So it hasn't obliterated the reaction. Rather, it's just come back to a support level. I'm still thinking oil's got a little bit of upside to it. And for that reason, I've got a little bit of a bearish look to Euro CAD, again, based on what I think oil will do and what I think Euro's got potential to do. But again, speculation. So I'm not talking facts and figures here. I'm not talking perfect technical setups. I'm talking absolute speculation. And for that reason, it's just too tough to be getting into the market, in my humble opinion. We'll talk about it, pound yen, that is. And I've got this, again, very bearish outlook, this cross, but based again on what I think may come out of Brexit vote. And that would be something that's not great for the pound, and something that would take us into a risk-off situation, which means the yen should rally, pound should go short. I think that would be the place I'd like to be, if any, would be on the short side of this. But, you know, how brave do you need to be? You know, if you're wrong and the market goes, 1,000 pips against you, which can happen, you're going to be in all sorts of poo. And that's the consideration that I'm taking into this scenario tomorrow. I've got to program myself for the worst and hope for the best if I'm going into the market here. And that word hope is the key figure. That's the key word. If you're hoping that your trade will go well, you're probably not in the right trade, in my opinion. So once you get into that hope situation, rather than the certainty of, okay, I know where this is going, I know I've got the right trade in the market, that's what I need to have. I need to have that, if not 100% certainty, then a real good shot at it. And I don't see that we've got a real good shot here. I think we're speculating that one thing's going to happen. The most likely or logical outcome is going to happen. But just guess what? The market doesn't take any consideration of likely or logic. It takes consideration only of what is happening at that exact moment in time. And I can't predict that with any certainty. So it's very, very tough. So let's line up our charts for today. We can leave everything that's got euro or pound in it down to this side. So guess what that does? That leaves me with two crosses to trade. Aussie yen and Aussie dollar. Now, those of you who don't know the way I trade, you'll probably be thinking, well, no, it doesn't. There's lots of other crosses. And that's very true. There are a lot of other minors that come into calculations, but I only trade 8 crosses on this strategy. So the ones that I have to right now ignore are everything that's got euro or pound attached to it, and concentrate on the 2 that I can trade with a far better amount of certainty. And Aussie, of course, is one of them. And yes, I'm ready to go, but I need to see something first, and that something needs to be a retracement back to here. Get me back to this level here, back to 72, and a low test bar or something of that nature, some form of higher low here that gets me interested, and then I can trade it long. And Aussie yen, look, Aussie yen's the reverse, to be fair, in terms of what I think the market will do. But that may not happen until, as I say, that Brexit announcement tomorrow. So I can still maintain a semi, if you like, bullish attitude here. And I think what I'd like to see is price get to here and then get out. Just completely get out of this, because if, as I have continued to say, Brexit does go pear-shaped, is that the right word? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. If it goes anti-euro, anti-pound, or even if there's uncertainty surrounding it, the market, in my opinion, will go into risk-off mentality, which drives Aussie yen short. And for that reason, yes, I'm happy to go to here today, and probably I'll look for that trade. But longer term, I need to be out of here by this time tomorrow, probably. So that's where I'm at. So I still think Aussie yen can be influenced by Brexit, and that leaves me stuck. Well, I don't mind being stuck with the Aussie. It's my country's currency, after all. So why would I be bothered with it? And I'm not, because I think it's quite a reliable pair to trade, and I'm just waiting for an opportunity here. So let price come down to here, give me that higher low off the back of this one that I'm looking for, then I'll look to trade it long. So really, guys, that is where I sit, and I don't see a whole lot of point, to be fair, in hanging around too much longer today, because I'm not going to trade the euro pairs, the pound pairs. I am looking at the Aussie pair, and that is Aussie and Aussie yen, and both looking long today to trade. Aussie taking profit before here, getting out before here if it's a 30-minute trade, and Aussie yen looking to trade long, and great target here, in my opinion. And if we can manage to get to there, it's all out, and looking for something after the Brexit announcements on Wednesday, well, maybe even after the Brexit announcement, there might be something available for us. But until that time, I don't think we've got too much to be concerned with. I'm going to wait until these candles close, and depending on what I see, I may look at placing a long here on either or both of them. That would be based on this scenario. When I come to a trend line like this, one of two things is going to happen for mine. A, it's going to break. B, it's going to bounce. In this case, this is now the high of the day, potentially, but it's not yet the high of the day. It is actually a new high. That was the high of the day prior. It's a new high based on here as well. So what I was saying before is I don't like to trade into the high of the day. That's quite true. I don't like to trade into the high of the day, which is this, and don't like to do that. In fact, I don't do that. But this is different, Aussie yen, where I've got the opportunity to trade through, if you like, a potential high of the day, but it's not a high of the day. This was the high of the day. So I hope you can see the difference there. there is a marked difference. So I'd be happy to trade this long, and I'm just waiting for this to close, this candle to close on the 30-minute chart. And if it looks pretty much like this, then I actually will trade this long. Now, I'll give you the parameters surrounding it. We're going to be risking about 15 odd pips, which means we're going to take profit here and leave a little bit open. We'll get free trading first before DR1. So I'll look for a spike to DR1. I'll take profit. Movement stop to whatever profit I take below the entry. And then I may even look to close here. No, I think this is the close. This level here, just before monthly pivot and DR2. That's the close point for me. And that'd be a pretty good reward. That'd be about a 3-to-1 trade. So that will do me. 28 past. We've got a couple of minutes to wait. Let's do that and see how this candle closes. I'll set it up anyway. It will be a pending order. It will be a buy stop. The entry level will be 81.39. So we can put that in. 81.39, and my stop will be at 81.24, providing we don't get any further downside here in this candle. What did I say? 81.24, yeah. Okay, 2 seconds, 1, done. All right, we can place that order. And look, I think this is probably worth a 0.5er. It's counter trend. Okay, we better just knock that back to 0.25er. There is a little bit more risk than I'd like on it, so we'll do that. 81, what did I say the entry was? 81.39, yep. And 81.24. Okay. All right, that's in the market. Now I'll put these levels on my chart. 81.39 is the entry. Take profit 1 will be right there and about 81.46, let's say. Where'd that go? Disappeared. Let's call that 81.46. Oh my goodness. Let me just excuse me. 81.46 is first take profit. Take a third off at that level. And then I'll give you an option, guys. You can take another third off there, if you so choose, at 81.62. So 81.62. If you want to take a second profit. And the target, this is all out at 81.85. Okay, that should be pretty clear now. So one more time, entry is at 81.39, stop loss is at 81.24, first take profit is at 81.46, optional second take profit is at 81.62, and the target is 81.85. Okay, guys, that's it. that's where we're going to close the show today. There's nothing more to say, really. I've said all that I need to say today, and nothing too much is going to change from now, except this trade's going to be taken in, or as I say, it's going to bounce and go short. If it's going to do that, then I'm certainly hope it doesn't take us into the long first. With the euro, again, if you're still in that 4-hour trade, there's really not a lot to do. If you haven't moved your stop to entry, I would advise that to be the case, because there's likely to be some volatility coming up. Whether that's today or tomorrow, only time will tell. But I think getting safe in the market is probably a priority at this point. We've already taken profit here. So it's a no-lose trade, and stops to entry, it can only win. So that's a good thing. Rightio, guys. Thank you for your company today. We'll do it all again tomorrow, and Ash will be with us for the entire show. We look forward to your company if you can be with us then. If not, then we'll see you in the future somewhere. Have a good one. Bye for now.